Tom Gulley's got a mic in his hand. Ooh yeah, talking Bigfoot tracks in the sand. Hole punches, spiders, conspiracies tight. He's podcasting strong, deep into the night. From the man from UNCLE to the Motown scene. He's dropping gems like you never seen. Oh, you know Tom Gulley, he's the podcast king. Say what? Ladies man with a smooth, sweet swing. Bigfoot, spider, and 9/11 schemes. Tom's a man of your wildest dreams. Tom Gulley, he's got charm, got wit, and a silky flow. Oh yeah, talking mysteries only Tom would know. From R&B to the funk so tight, so tight. He's spinning webs like a spider at night. Woo! His voice is smooth like a Motown jam. Ooh-wee. You can't help but say that's my man. Oh yeah, Tom Gulley, he's the podcast king. Ladies man with a smooth, sweet swing. Ooh. Bigfoot, spiders, and 9/11 schemes. Tom's the man of your wildest dreams. Tom Gulley, I'm gonna, Tom Gulley, I'm gonna, Tom Gulley, I'm gonna, Tom Gulley, I'm gonna, Tom Gulley's got a mic in his hand. Ooh yeah, talking Bigfoot tracks in the sand. Hole punches, spiders, conspiracies tight. He's podcasting strong, deep into the night. From the man from UNCLE to the Motown scene. He's dropping gems like you never seen. Oh, you know Tom Gulley, he's the podcast king. Say what? Ladies man with a smooth, sweet swing. Bigfoot, spider, and 9/11 schemes. Tom's a man of your wildest dreams. Tom Gulley, he's got charm, got wit, and a silky flow. Oh yeah, talking mysteries only Tom would know. From R&B to the funk so tight, so tight. He's spinning webs like a spider at night. Woo! His voice is smooth like a Motown jam. Ooh-wee. You can't help but say that's my man. Oh yeah, Tom Gulley, he's the podcast king. Ladies man with a smooth, sweet swing. Ooh. Bigfoot, spiders, and 9/11 schemes. Tom's the man of your wildest dreams. Tom Gulley, I'm gonna, Tom Gulley, I'm gonna, Tom Gulley, I'm gonna, Tom Gulley, I'm gonna,
Oh, yeah. Tap your toes. Put your hands together. Go ahead. You know you want to. If you crave satisfaction, this is the place to find that action. Hey, everybody, what's going on? What's hot? What's hip? What's happening? What is shaking? Leon Kennedy whipped me up a new song, and I just thought I'd play it for everybody tonight. Let me know what you think. As tonight I'm going to tell you about the biggest train wreck in the history of variety shows. If something could go wrong, it would, and it did, on Pink Lady and Jeff. That's actually the title. The title was even a problem. We'll get into all that in just a second. Do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell, all the free things that'll help us with the algorithm, the almighty, all-powerful, all-seeing algorithm. Plus, we do have super chats. Plus, we do have memberships. Plus, we do have the PayPal where you give the most and I get the most. Plus, we have our merch store. It's all in the description. Or we can put it right here in the begging bar. That's right at the bottom. That's where I beg. I beg electronically so that, people don't have to, you know what I mean? I don't have to continually beg throughout the show. It helps. It's electronic. Hey, a couple shows ago, before I get to tonight's topic, we did Bob Ross. And I was actually on another show, because as we mentioned during that show, I worked on The Joy of Painting with Bob Ross. And a woman by the name of Carrie Lynn said that she and her family had painted paintings from The Joy of Painting with Bob Ross and his style. And she told me a story that her husband had passed away, but in the last 2 years of his life, that the family had all gotten involved. It was a way for them to spend time together, bond together, enjoy each other's company. And she sent me some of the works that her family did. And I said, well, by golly, I'm going to show those babies. So I'm going to do that for you now. Bingo, bango, jingo, jango. Now, this painting was done by her 10-year-old. Her 10-year-old did this painting. And I can see Michael Gardner in our chat said Bob Ross had hundreds and hundreds of paintings. Well, actually thousands. They estimate 30,000, and he had at least 2 of every show's painting. Actually, Michael, he had 3. He would paint one and then put it just off set as reference that he could glance at. Then he would paint one during the show, and then he would paint a third, more detailed painting of the same scene that would be used in his instructional manuals. So he had at least 3 of each for every show. So this one was done by Carrie Lynn's 10-year-old, yes. And this was done by the 7-year-old. 7-year-old child did this one. Check it out. I think there's some great work there. I think you're seeing the beginnings of a budding artist. Now, one of the greatest things about Bob Ross and his show was the palette. He would hold a little palette to mix paints on, and she even had that. She said, there's our palette. There's where we mixed up all of our paint and did little doodles and stuff. Now, this one was done by Carrie Lynn and her husband together, and I think you can really see the Bob Ross style there. Yeah, that's pretty nice. And this last one, Carrie Lynn did herself in just 3.5 hours. And I think that is a wonderful piece of work. So, nice to hear from Carrie Lynn. Was glad that she reached out, and an absolute pleasure to show her work on this program. And of course, very sorry to hear about the tragic loss in her family, but very happy to hear that during those days there was something they could all bond with and have as a lifelong memory. So there you go. There you go. And now to the train wreck, sadly. Let's go from that story to the train wreck that was, let's get to some of your comments first, shall we? Why don't we do that? Thank you, StreamYard, for finally catching up to where I'm at. Let's get to some of your comments real quick. Team Brittany was here a little earlier. Said she couldn't stay, but wanted to drop by and give us a like. First one. And you can do the same thing. Like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell, all the free things you can do to help us with the algorithm, super chat, membership, YouTube, PayPal, merch store. So I was glad to hear from her. She's a moderator on a giant 130,000 subscription, 5,000 people listening live show. And so we're very glad to have her drop by whenever she can. Sky is here. Extremely technologically savvy Sky. Always good to see him. Turkatron is here. One of my favorite people. She knows where the good tacos are. Very much so. Sky says he's loving the new music. I like it myself a little bit. I'll have to do a video to it. Michael Gardner, Yes, 3. Didn't know about the third. That is fantastic. And Sky said he never knew he was looking off camera. He didn't really look off camera. It was just every now and then he would take a glance to kind of get his bearing just for reference. But he was still painting and stuff. Gilman is here. He says, sup, Gullerinos, Gully Heads, Gully Gang, Flock of Seagullies. There's many names. I don't create them for the followers of this program. By the way, tomorrow night, Candy Cigarettes. Thursday night, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, before the big Awfulween special. And Jesse X, Dark Lord of the Internet. That's on a tremendous generational run. I don't think that can be said enough, and certainly I'll keep saying it. But let's talk about Pink Lady and Jeff. Pink Lady and Jeff. In the age of the variety show, this was one of them. And it started out on NBC in the year of 1980. Okay, now you might be saying, Pink Lady and Jeff, what is that? What is that? It's actually a show that's titled Pink Lady. All right, now what was Pink Lady? Pink Lady was a Japanese singing duo that had one U.S. hit, English language, called Kiss in the Dark. And they were huge in Japan. There's a couple of things that you need to know before we go any further. First thing is, they had that English song, English language, Kiss in the Dark. So some big-time producers, mostly of children's shows, called Sid and Marty Krofft, said, hey, we're going after them, and we're going to have them do a variety show. You know Sid and Marty Krofft from H.R. Puffin stuff, Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. I think they might have had a hand in Land of the Lost. Big time children's kind of, reality with puppet kind of guys. They're going to try and do this variety show. They think this is our way in, big time primetime entertainment. They were under the impression, because apparently the people from Pink Lady had given them the impression, as well as NBC, that they spoke English. They didn't speak a word of English. Not one word. So right out of the gate, there's problems. There's problems with this show. Generally, on an American television network, you would like someone who can speak English. So they brought in a comedian, a very, very good comedian named Jeff Altman. You may have seen him on television. He was on Letterman. I won't say how many times, because Don Giller will blow a gasket and come in here and, but he was frequently on Letterman. Frequently can mean anything you want, right? And he was known for a bit about butt steak. And anyway, very, very good comedian, right? They had to bring him in to sort of be the conduit between Pink Lady and anything that was going on in the show. And by that, I mean anything that was going on in the show. They did not speak a word of English. Here's the other thing. And I'll just mention this. I'll probably mention it again a little bit later. In Japan, Pink Lady, like a lot of, you remember in the Godzilla movies, the two little tiny gals that would, Godzilla will not come in attack, and would speak in unison as if they were one person? Well, that was the persona of Pink Lady. One was named Mi and one was named Kai. So they were used to sort of being one entity. That was their persona that had made them a major smash hit in Japan. In the United States, they tried to make them two different people, which also added to the mess that this show is. And I mean mess, a giant, giant mess. They had to do their English dialogue phonetically. In other words, they didn't know what they were saying. It was just sort of phonetically spelled out for them, and they would say it. Obviously, probably not going to be that well. that compounded problems, and they did some things to try and bail this show out that also are kind of legendary. You're not going to believe this. You are absolutely not going to believe this. Now, the format of the show was musical numbers, usually popular hits of the day. And I'll get into some of this. These two gals would sing the songs you were hearing on the radio that were really popular. And they also had musical guests. I'll get to that too. It's bizarre. It is just bizarre. They were doing English language disco and pop songs like Boogie Wonderland, or they would do Yesterday by the Beatles. All right. And they would try to interact with the other celebrity guests and musical guests. And get this. At the end of the show, this was a running gag for the end of the show. They would all jump into a hot tub together. Yeah. The ratings for this show were abysmal. And they shot 6 episodes of it. It was canceled after 5. The show was the brainchild of a guy we're going to do a show about next week named Fred Silverman. Now, Fred Silverman was one of the greatest television programmers of all time. We'll get into the shows that he brought to TV. And when you hear them, you'll go, man, this guy was the genius of all geniuses. He did have a couple of notable, huge failures, this being one of them. Another one was a thing called Super Train. We'll get into all of that next week when we talk about Fred Silverman. But he was the president and CEO of NBC. And he had huge success at ABC and CBS. And he saw a Walter Cronkite story on Pink Lady on the CBS Evening News. And he thought, let's just translate this over into the U.S. So he got hold of Sid and Marty Krofft. And at the time, they had their only U.S. hit, that Kiss in the Dark, right? And the Crofts were told these ladies are fluent in English, which they were not. And so the Crofts set about, by their own admission, to create the strangest show that had ever been on TV, right? And Fred Silverman said, no, that's too weird. Let's just do kind of a version of Donnie and Marie. And Donnie and Marie was, singing the hits of the day and a couple of comedy sketches. That's what they decided to do with Pink Lady. Now, Jeff Altman, who you see in the middle there, had a contract with NBC, right? And he was offered that position to compensate for the fact that these women did not speak a word of English, right? Not a word. And they went out and got some big producer. They got a writer that had worked on a couple of big shows. They got a director who was from the Sonny and Cher show, which is a giant show. See, they spared no expense for this show. And I'll get to more of that here in just a second, because they realized they had a dog on their hand and they had to spend a lot of money to try and bail it out. The language was the biggest problem. They had an on-set translator. The writers struggled because once they wrote something for them, it could never be changed because of the language problem. And normally on a TV show, you are changing things at all times, trying to improve it, make it better. Added to the problems was the booking of last-minute guests. And I was kind of saving this for later, but I'll tell you right now. They got the biggest stars that you can possibly imagine from Hollywood and movies to be on this show, which is what makes it such a freak show, is they had the biggest people you can imagine, and they had to pay them just boatloads of money to be on this dog, okay? They couldn't learn their lines very well. Lorne Greene, let's just get a picture of Lorne Greene, who was well known from one of the most popular series ever to air on television, Bonanza. He was booked hours before his episode was taped. So, the gals from Pink Lady, they wanted to sing the songs that had made them huge, huge stars in Japan. But NBC says, no, you're going to do everything in English. So this resulted in having to record English songs phonetically and lip sync them for the show's taping. Now, lip syncing was common for American variety shows, but it was really noticeable for these gals. If you got a group out and their hit song was the song they were lip syncing, there's no problem there. But when you get these ladies out and they're doing something phonetically that they've already recorded and really don't know, oh my God, they're missing by miles. You can really tell they're not doing it. I talked about the fact that they had one identity in their act all the way through the history of their act, but now they had to have two, and they spoke in unison and stuff. In Japan, now they had to be two different people. And here's another problem. You would think Pink Lady, me and Kai, would stay in the United States for this big opportunity and just work on the show. No. They were so popular in Japan, they had to commute between Japan and the USA to do the show, and therefore spent all of their time when they were in the US memorizing lines and routines and things they didn't know how to do. And then more and more sketch players were brought in, like Jim Varney. He was one of the sketch players on that show. So booking guests was a tough thing. By 1980, variety shows, the big ones like Carol Burnett, was still a thing, but not nearly as big as it used to be. They're starting to fade, okay? Because of the fact that these two right there are not a big household name in the United States, it was tough to get stars to come on the show. And therefore, they had to pay them insane amounts of money. Larry Hagman was the star of the CBS show Dallas, biggest show on TV at the time. He was on the show. They paid him $1 bajillion, right? Some of the people that Crofts had worked with before, like Florence Henderson from the Brady Bunch, Donny Osmond, Donnie Marie, Red Buttons, you saw him in the first Poseidon Adventure movie, whatever. Bobby Vinton, who was a big hit maker at the time, a singer. They came in, they performed. I'm saving the rest for later. You're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe it. As I mentioned, every show ended with the tuxedo-clad Jeff Altman getting lured, pushed, or pulled into the on-set hot tub by Pink Lady. And that was a gag that they had used on the ill-fated Brady Bunch hour. I should do a show on it. It's also one of the worst television shows ever, historically bad. We had my good friend Steve Bluestein on the show. He was one of the writers of that show and talks about it during his appearances on the Tom Gulley Show here. Anyway, Jeff Altman tried to convince the staff, don't do this, but NBC wanted it because you got to see the two gals in bikinis. Yeah. Now, even the show's title was a source of great confusion. The on-screen title, as you see before you, was Pink Lady. But everybody, even in promotional, stuff, it was known as Pink Lady and Jeff. Jeff Altman felt, hey, I am really doing the bulk of the work on this show. I should get my name in the title. And the network agreed, but Pink Lady's manager said, no go. I'll sue you if Jeff is in the title. So NBC's promos would occasionally refer to Pink Lady, but the voiceover announcer on the show referred to it as Pink Lady and Jeff. In print ads and in TV Guide, it was always titled Pink Lady and Jeff. But it's just a mess. Just a complete mess. Now, let me just go over a few things from the actual episodes. Well, let me get to some of your comments first. And then I'm going to tell you about the actual episodes. And the freak show will merely explode from there. I kid you not. Let's see if I got a better picture of Pink Lady and Jeff. Nah, just put this one up. All right, here we go. Let's get to your comments. This generational run is generational. It really is. Elvira, can't wait. That's Thursday night. The bass in this song slaps. You mean this song?
Tom Gulley's got a mic in his hand.
That song? Anyway, let's see. No subtitles back then. Nope. They should have just dubbed in their voices. They probably should have. It would be in keeping with Japanese movies. Johnny Brooks is here. He says, "Good evening, Mr. Gulley. I'm missing Lemme cooking for this, so it better be good." Well, I'll do my best, and not mad at you if you go check out Lemme. You know what? I'll just take a second to say there's something I told her today. She rocks. And some other people are just awful. Just bully awful. So rock on, Lemme. Let's see, your biggest stars, like the 10-footers or the 30-footers you have to rent a crane for. Excuse me. Terry Nee says, "I love bananas." Oh, I love bananas too, Terry. It's my number 2 favorite fruit. Pink Lady is Andy Kaufman-esque. It really is. Pinko Lady, I don't know that they were communists. I can't tell you. You know what I mean? Where are the Thunderbirds? You mean the Thunderbirds, the famous roller derby team, or the Thunderbirds, the Gary Anderson produced action series? Difficult to say. Episode 1 of Pink Lady, okay? They had Burt Parks, who at the time was very famous. You guys may not know of him. He was kind of a singer back in his heyday, but he became the very long-time host of the Miss America pageant, which was a big thing back then. So he's super famous, okay? Sherman Hemsley. You may know him better as Mr. Jefferson from the Jeffersons and All in the Family. And then who was their musical guest? This is 1980. This is squeaky clean American television. Their musical guest was Blondie. Yes, Deborah Harry and the new wave / borderline punk group Blondie for the first episode. Now you're thinking maybe, well, those stars aren't that great. You know, they're going to scale it up. Trust me. The songs on that, Boogie Wonderland, Stop in the Name of Love, Boogie Woogie Bugle Babe, Hooray for Hollywood, You've Got a Friend, and Knock on Wood. The hits of the day. Episode number 2. Well, I mentioned Larry Hagman was on that one, right? Larry Hagman, the star Who Shot JR of Dallas. Biggest show on television, right? You had Sid Caesar, who is famous. You guys may not know of him, but Sid Caesar, the coach in the movie Grease, he had a show on that was the most popular show on television back in the 50s called Your Show of Shows, that had writers like Mel Brooks and Woody Allen and Carl Reiner. Legendary TV figure. Donny Osmond was a guest. Also a musical guest on that the second program, Teddy Pendergrass. Well-known R&B legend, Teddy Pendergrass. So as you can see, there is some variety in the guest stars. You had like old stars of Hollywood, top TV stars, and then Teddy Pendergrass was on that one. They did Ease on Down the Road. They did We Are Family, which was done by Donny Osmond and Pink Lady. They did New York, New York, 42nd Street. And on Broadway, they say the neon lights are bright on Broadway. That was done by Teddy Pendergrass and Pink Lady. Can you imagine Teddy Pendergrass, this soul R&B legend, having to do this nonsense with with these people? I can't. In the next episode, their guest stars were Greg Evigan. Now, Greg Evigan was the star of a very popular show called BJ and the Bear. He was a heartthrob. He was really good looking. As you know, StreamYard only allows me 10 pictures, and I can't have too many guys better looking than me on the show, so I didn't load his picture in. However, the musical guest for this particular show, Cheap Trick. That's right, Cheap Trick. This is just, it just doesn't make any sense. And also a guest star on this show, the legendary Hugh Hefner was also, the publisher of Playboy, was also a guest star on this show. By the way, Hugh Hefner was on lots of TV shows back then. He was quite popular. They did UFO. They did Don't Go Breaking My Heart. Greg Evigan, an actor, actually sang with Pink Lady on that one. Cheap Trick did The Dream Police on the show. It was a music video, but they were the guest. And they did My Kind of Town. Hugh Hefner, right there in front of you, the publisher of Playboy, by himself sang My Kind of Town on this show. Hugh Hefner had a speech impediment. He was not a good speaker. But on Pink Lady and Jeff, he was entrusted with closing the show, by the way. They didn't close it because they had to push Jeff into the hot tub for the close. But he did the last musical number on the show. In episode number 4, man, they're really running low. There aren't any more bullets in the gun. They had Lorne Green, as I mentioned earlier, from Bonanza. He arrived hours before the taping. Sid Caesar came back for probably just the money. Florence Henderson, that's right, Carol Brady, Mrs. Brady from the Brady Bunch. And who returned, of all people? Yes, Blondie came back. The Pink Lady did You Keep Me Hanging On. They sang Yesterday by the Beatles. And Blondie did Eat to the Beat. It was a music video, but they did it. Florence Henderson, an extremely talented singer, and not maybe known to most people on, the Brady Bunch fix. She could really sing. She sang My Old Kentucky Home. She sang Back Home Again in Indiana. She spent a lot of her childhood in Indiana, and she sang America the Beautiful. Now, I'll just tell you this because I happen to know it. Florence Henderson actually sang the Star-Spangled Banner at the Indy 500 for probably 20 or 30 years. Pink Lady at the very end of the show did How Deep Is Your Love, Shame, and Les Freak. And I wish I could have seen him doing Les Freak. Does it get weirder? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it gets weirder. Sure. You want weirder? I got weirder for you. In the 5th episode, the show was canceled after 5, although they shot 6. The guest stars were Jerry Lewis, one of the biggest stars in the world. Yes, oh, Mrs. Lady, Jerry Lewis. The telethon, the movies with Dean Martin. Yeah, Jerry Lewis. Red Buttons, who was a comedian and performer in Las Vegas and was also in the Poseidon Adventure and lots of other movies. He was on the show. Who was the musical guest? I hear you cry out. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, come on. I had to have loaded this. Maybe I did. I guess I didn't have enough. The musical guest, Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper. For those of you who don't know, Alice Cooper, famous for the hit song Only Women Bleed, and many other hits of the day, and a freak, basically a freak. Pink Lady performed MacArthur Park. For those of you who don't know, MacArthur Park is an almost totally spoken song. Someone left my cake out in the rain. I don't think that I can make it 'cause it took too long to bake it, and I'll never have that memory again. It's how they, I don't know. I don't know. The Pink Lady closed the show with Do You Think I'm Sexy, Dancing Queens, and If My Friends Could See Me Now. Now, there was a 6th episode. There was a 6th episode. And the guest stars were Byron Allen, who's a comedian. You may have seen him on that late night show, Byron Allen's Profiles, these really canned interviews with famous people. Sid Caesar came back, why I don't know. Bobby Vinton came back, why I don't know. And the big guest was, Roy Orbison. Roy Orbison with his high falsetto voice, singing with 2 Japanese girls. It must have been incredible. Pink Lady performed Sugar Pie Honey Bunch. Bobby Vinton did a medley of his smash hits. These were all number one hits. Roses are red, my love, violets are blue. He did Blue on Blue, a heartache on heartache. He did How Do You Love Me? He did Sealed with a Kiss, and he did Blue Velvet. So a medley of his hits, which was probably pretty good. Roy Orbison did Pretty Women. A pretty woman, walking down the street by himself, thank God. Jeff Altman actually did a song for that one, Mr. Lonely. Crazy Little Thing Called Love was performed by Pink Lady. They also, with Bobby Vinton, did Johnny Be Good. And then Jeff Altman and Bobby Vinton did Blue on Blue. Again, although it was in the show earlier. Yeah. Canceled after just 6 episodes. So I could tell you a little more if you really want to know about it. I mean, they did parodies of this on a million things. You can actually, from Rhino Entertainment, get the complete series on DVD if you really want to. Harry Shearer appeared as Carl Sagan on Saturday Night Live spoof Pink Lady and Carl, with Gilda Radner and Lorraine Newman playing the singing duo, and Paul Schaefer as special guest star Marvin Hamlish. That was a spoof. How you can spoof this show, I'll never know. Incidentally, we have pinned the link at the top of the chat if anybody would like to be on the show tonight, which nobody ever does. Do me a favor, please like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell, all those things. They don't cost you a cent. It only takes a click, and they help us greatly with the algorithm, the almighty, all-powerful, all-knowing algorithm. We do have super chats. We do have memberships. Our goal, as it is every evening, is any amount of money. We have not reached our goal yet tonight. We didn't reach it last night. I'm at least better than Pink Lady and Jeff. Some have said. PayPal, merch store, all that kind of stuff. Let me get to some of your comments here. Let me get to, well, there's not that many comments. But, Julian Caesar says Teddy Pendergrass just got back from Winterfell. Good Game of Thrones reference. Julian Caesar's on fire. Nobody says I like turtles. Julian Caesar says Hefner shows up on any show with a hot tub. That's pretty true. We might do an episode on Playboy After Dark. I better write that down. Playboy After Dark. That was an incredible show. And a good show, by the way. There's never been a show like it. Never been a show like it. Anyway, let's see what we got here. Julian Caesar says, Lorne Greene is like the Cheshire Cat. The last thing to leave is his eyebrows. Well, and Lorne Greene was actually kind of famous in Japan. He would go over there and do movies, because in Japan, gray-haired, elderly, macho-type guys, very revered. And so that's why you see him. He's like the general on the TV screen. Didn't do many scenes, but he was in a lot of those Godzilla-ish monster movies and stuff back then. Meniscus Drywall says, hey, Tom, hope you're having a great evening. I hope you're having a great evening too, my brother. I really do. But that's all I really got to tell you about Pink Lady and Jeff. Easily one of the most freak show, worst American network television shows of all time. Absolutely of all time. I believe you can find small clips of them on YouTube. Watch them. You won't believe what you're seeing. And this was a prime time variety show. Absolutely prime time variety show. They moved it to Friday nights, and it still didn't do anything. Absolutely nothing. Didn't speak a word of English. Didn't really want to learn how to speak any English. Not really interested in the English at all. Tomorrow night, Candy Cigarettes. Thursday night, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. And then Thursday, right after this show, our good frenemies over at the Pod Awful Network with Jesse X, better known as Jesse PS, will be having their annual Awful Ween special. So you'll want to check that out. And also, wow, is that guy on a generational run? It's pretty amazing. And as I mentioned before, the link is up. You can come on the show. You don't have to turn on your camera. You can just be on. Just be on. This series, by the way, was ranked number 35 on TV Guide's 50 worst TV shows of all time. And I think the only reason it was ranked that low was nobody knew about it. It was not on for that long. Goat's asking if he can be on the show. Yeah. But that's not really a good way to spell that. Here I mentioned Fred Silverman was in charge of this disaster. Here are some of the shows that he brought to television, and we're going to do a whole show on him next week, I think, maybe. Scooby-Doo. He's responsible for Scooby-Doo. Also responsible for All in the Family, The Waltons, Charlie's Angels, the legendary miniseries Rich Man, Poor Man, the legendary miniseries Roots, the legendary miniseries Shogun. He was known as the man with the golden gut because he really knew what would work. He's also responsible for something called the Rural Purge of 1971. At the time, there were a whole bunch of shows on CBS that were very highly rated, but were very corn-pone country, like Green Acres, Mayberry RFD, Hee Haw, the Beverly Hillbillies. These were highly rated programs. He canceled them all, and he replaced them with All in the Family, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, MASH, The Waltons, Cannon, Barnaby Jones, Kojak, and the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour. Are you kidding me? He's the one that spun Maude and the Jeffersons off from All in the Family and Rhoda from the Mary Tyler Moore Show, as well as getting the Bob Newhart Show on the air. He created Good Times. He, did a bunch of stuff. He updated The Price is Right and made it a huge success. He updated Match Game, made it a huge success. He, as I mentioned, did Happy Days. He also did Laverne and Shirley. He also did Mork and Mindy. He also greenlit, in other words, gave permission for shows like The Bionic Woman, which was a spinoff of The $6 Million Man, Family, which was a dramedy kind of show, Charlie's Angels, Donnie and Marie, Three's Company, huge hit, 8 is Enough, The Love Boat. He greenlit The Love Boat. Fantasy Island. This guy did a ton of huge things. He revitalized the daytime soap opera. He had some big failures at NBC, though. The sitcom Hello Larry, legendarily bad show. Pink Lady, and then Super Train, which at the time was the most expensive TV series ever produced. And it just totally tanked. Absolutely tanked. Anyway, he did, though, create Hill Street Blues, which all of the ensemble TV shows that you know now, where there's not just one main star, there's a whole cast of character type star, that was all started by Hill Street Blues. He greenlit David Letterman's daytime show, which led to the nighttime show. He's the one that, after the morning show failed, he kept Letterman on contract at $1 million a year just to sit out for a year so they could keep a hold of David Letterman. He started TV's bloopers and practical jokes. He developed situation comedies like Different Strokes, Facts of Life, and Give Me a Break. He launched a really popular clip show. You guys love clips, right? Called Real People. You know, I could go on and on and on. We'll cover it if we do him next week. But anyway, he did all of that stuff. And he also did Pink Lady and Jeff, sadly, for his sake. Let's see here. Let me get to some of your comments. Oh, there aren't any more comments. I've got 19 minutes to fill. The heck are we going to talk about for 19 minutes? We're going to listen to the new opening theme song. It's not the new one. It's another one. I probably have to make a video for this, and then we'll rotate them or something. I haven't decided yet. Maybe this is the right graphic to show.
Tom Gulley's got a mic in his hand. Ooh, yeah. Talking Bigfoot tracks in the sand. Hole punches, spiders, conspiracies tight. He's podcasting strong, deep into the night. From the man from UNCLE to the Motown scene. He's dropping gems like you never seen. Oh, you know Tom Gulley, he's the podcast king. Say what? Ladies man with a smooth, sweet swing. Bigfoot, spider, and 9/11 schemes. Tom's a man of your wildest dreams. Tom Gulley, he's got charm, got wit, and a silky flow. Oh yeah, talking mysteries only Tom would know. From R&B to the funk so tight, so tight. He's spinning webs like a spider at night. Woo! His voice is smooth like a Motown jam. Ooh-wee. You can't help but say that's my man. Oh yeah, Tom Gulley, he's the podcast king. Ladies man with a smooth, sweet swing. Ooh, Bigfoot, spiders, and 9/11 schemes. Tom's the man of your wildest dreams. Tom Gulley, I'm gonna, Tom Gulley, I'm gonna, Tom Gulley.
StreamYard, turn the sound down on that. So if it was low volume at the beginning, that's why. Thank you, StreamYard. You're always helping. You really are always helping. Stribs missed the Tom Gulley Rides the Wave song. Yeah, that's an oldie but a goodie. Maybe we'll play that retro nostalgia, one of the anniversary shows or something. I don't know. Man. I got no idea. Whatsoever. Anyway, that's all I got. If you got any questions, give them to me now. I don't think I'm going to sit here and vamp for 16 minutes, kids. I'll just put a fork in it. You know. Just was struck how closely to Roy Orbison's hairdo mine is. It's probably not wise. Anyway, hope you guys are having a good evening. Tomorrow, as I said, candy cigarettes. And then I'm trying to find some. I couldn't find some the other day. Goat says, that's a decent AI song. Did you make it? No, I mentioned earlier, Leon Kennedy, who did the other song, made this song. And thank you to Leon Kennedy from across the pond over there. It's imported from the United Kingdom. Yeah, I import things like that. It's important. Imported. Tag on it. Anyway. All right, let's see here. I'll give it a couple more minutes, and then since we haven't met our goal, and I think we're likely to, we'll just go from there. Let's see. I've got next week. I've got coming up. Oh yeah, I think I got the whole week mapped out. We got Hulk Hogan, Player Pianos, Sherlock Holmes, and then Playboy After Dark next week. That's a heck of a week, kids. Would I ever marry a British woman? Well, beggars can't be choosers. I think I would. I think I really would. The right one, not just anyone off the street, but yeah, the right one, sure, why not? Terry Nee says whiteout. I don't have any idea what you're talking about with the whiteout. None whatsoever. Absolutely no clue. The non sequiturness of it, there's no, am I doing, do you want me to do a show on whiteout, the product? I would prefer to do a show on Michael Nesmith, whose mother of the Monkees, whose mother created whiteout. Spiral binders. I don't know, man. I can't do that quite so close to Hole Punch. We kind of covered that for Hole Punch. But then you'd have to hear that accent all the time. Think of the nagging. Well, it just depends on what, I don't like a Kong and I eat. That would get old, but they very sort of, that might not be so bad. Incidentally, hole punches are mentioned right at the beginning of this song. Check it out.
Tom Gulley's got a mic in his hand. Ooh, yeah. Talking Bigfoot tracks in the sand.
Here it comes.
Hole punches, spiders, conspiracy.
Did you hear it? Hole punches. Made it into the song. What do you think about that? That's hot. Microphone. I could do microphones. Sure. The low-class British accent is atrocious. Well, there's not just one. There's the Cockney. There's the Scouser. There's a bunch of them. Not just one. There ain't just one. A lot of them. They have as many accents as we do. I mean, think of it. You've got England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales, and they all have their own regional dialects. So it would depend. It would depend. Frankly, there's some annoying U.S., and I don't think sometimes it's as much, the accent as it is the nasally or not. I don't do well with that nasally. Terry, oops, hold on, let's go back. Got to talk about the RE20 if you're doing mics. No, I don't, but I will. Terry Nee says there's a mansion in Fort Lauderdale owned by the family who invented the gray material on scratch-offs. That rubbery, latexy stuff you scratch off there. Hey, that's a fortune in that. CPO Mod 1 says, hello, my friend. Hello. The name looks familiar. Scotland is really U.S., though. Is it? So nice to see your happy face. Okay. Are you someone that I know in life or something? I don't know any CPU Mod 1 to my knowledge, but people change their names and everything else. And they have a different avatar or whatever all the time. Scotland isn't really us, though. You mean us being people from the UK or US? I'm confused. I'm pretty confused right now. Scotland. I do find it hilarious that on Sky Sports News, when they interview Graham Souness, or not really Graham Souness, but a Scottish manager of what they would call football team, what we would call soccer team. They have to put subtitles under it sometimes. That's hilarious. Oh, okay. Yes. This would be Carrie Lynn. And I showed all of your paintings at the very beginning of the show. Very top of the show. You betcha I did. You betcha. I did. I showed this one here by your, let's take this off of here for a second. Showed this one by your 10-year-old. This one by your 7-year-old. The palette that you folks had, which is wonderful. Bob was big on his palette. This one here that you did with your husband. And then I showed this that you did in just 3.5 hours. Some fine work there. Yes. Terry Nee, always hilarious. It's that shirt, is what Amazon drivers wear now. No, Terry, this would be property of Carmel Greyhounds. And by the way, the Carmel Greyhound boys and girls soccer teams will play for the state championship in each of their respective divisions this weekend. So, booyakasha. How about that? By the way, you might want to look up Carmel High School, Indiana state championships. Okay, mister? Okay, buddy? Yeah. Oh my God, I missed it. I'll go back and look. You're amazing. No, I was very glad to do it. I'm glad that you mentioned that you had that since we did a show on it and was happy to show it. Nice work. Yes, very nice work. Let's see here. Thank you, Tom. I feel you should not feel honored. We're the ones that should feel honored. State prisons. The Carmel High School are you nuts? Let's see. Carmel High School sounds like Sugar Valley with the heat up too high. Well, the heat is on when the Greyhounds are about. That I will tell you. I'm sure we've won state championships just this year in something. Trust me. We win a lot of them. Do I have to do this right now in front of everybody? Do I? Okay. Carmel. By the way, one of our female swimmers came back from the recent Olympics with medals. Thank you. Yes, our women's swimming team has not lost the state championship in 39 years. Let's just start with that. Shall we start with that? Can we just start there? Can we? Let's see here. Well, I wanted their whole thing. Our boys swim team, not quite so good. We've only won it for the last 10 years. We won girls track and field this past year. Boys tennis. Yeah. 9 football state championships. Doggone it. Where's the... Oh, here we go. We have won over 180 state championships. How about that? What do you think about that? Let me see if I can find it here. Daggone it. There should be a more up-to-date... Let me see if I can find a more up-to-date thing here. Wikipedia. I could go to the school site, but it's over 180. I think it might be 200 now. I don't know. So there, Terry Nee, Mr. Terry Nee. State hospitals, special, no. The big school division, thank you very much. The drummer from Smashing Pumpkins went to Michael Gardner's high school. That's pretty cool. Olympic medalist. Incredible. Yes, let's just see here. High school girls swimming Olympic medal. Let me see if I can find that real quick here. Alex Shackle won a gold and a silver at the 2024 Paris Olympics. What do you think about that? In high school, our high school, of course. Terry Nee volunteers at the Special Olympics. It's nice that they carry that theme over into the volunteers as well, not just the competitors. Cool, Michael. Love that band. And my son plays guitar and can play the Smashing Pumpkins. I'm blessed with the two boys I had. Well, we talked all about them. Top of the show. Let's see here. That's wonderful, Terry. Terry Nee says, I was in the same class as Bret Michaels. Yes, he's our age. Bret Michaels, are you talking about the musician or the wrestler? The legendary diabetic, rock of love, self-absorbed buffoon that wears the bandanas on his head. Is that what you're talking about? Let's see. Carrie Lynn says, Tom, you have a great voice. I can picture you being a radio voice. Love it here. My first time here. Well, we're glad to have you. And we're desperate to have anyone. And just so you know, as everyone in the chat does, I was a radio guy. News Radio 1080 KRLD. There you go. That'll be $9.95. Poison. Yes, I know who he is. Every rose has its thorn, right, Terry Nee? You know that. You've been married for 472 years. You should be more aware of that than most, I would think. I think you would be highly aware of that. He's a sweetheart, nice guy, charitable. He's not a nice guy if you talk to some of the winners of Rock of Love, if you know what I'm saying. But I'm sure he's a nice guy. I've got nothing against him. He seems like quite a nice man for a rock star. Met you through the cupcakes. Love it. You're funny. Thank you, Carrie Lynn. It was great to meet you. And thank you for letting us share your paintings and your story. That's wonderful. Wonderful. And, best of success and good wishes and thoughts for your future, for you and your boys. And I hope you do more paintings. And I haven't figured out how I'm going to end the show, really, with this. I'm just going to probably just show oh, come on, StreamYard, you vex me so. I'll just show the logo and play the song. I won't show the video. Let's see here. Terry Nee said, that was edited by writers. Well, technically, Terry, it would have been edited by editors, video producers, writers. You see, on a reality show where most of what they say is extemporaneously generated is cut up a different way. Smarty pants. Sorry, I didn't mean to go all Don Giller with you. But you're right. It's highly contrived. And by the way, highly addictive. I don't think I missed an episode of that show. And it gave us the great phrase in our lexicon called, don't threaten me with the good time. Hey, Terry, you don't want to you're in my world now, mister. Writers edit written material. Okay? When you are producing a television show, a producer will do the edits. Now, if Bret Michaels has a written speech to give, very rare, then they might edit that, but the writers don't edit the footage. You're not going to catch a writer that's going to sit there and go through the hundreds of hours of footage that it takes to make one of those shows. I mean, I'm sorry, it's just not. What about lefters? I get it. I get it. I'm with you. Don't you ever call me a boomer if you're going to tell jokes like that. That is a dad joke. I don't know if you're a dad yet, but if you ever become a dad, save that. That is a dad joke. Tomorrow night we'll be covering Candy Cigarettes. Thursday night, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. And with that being said, I don't really have anything else. I think with that being said, the only thing left to say is, let me get this off of here real quick so I can get an easier transition to the finish. Boom. With that being said, I think the only thing left to say is, till next time, we'll see you next time.
Tom Gulley's got a mic in his hand. Ooh yeah, talking Bigfoot tracks in the sand. Hole punches, spiders, conspiracies tight. He's podcasting strong, deep into the night. From the man from UNCLE to the Motown scene. He's dropping gems like you never seen. Oh, you know Tom Gulley, he's a podcast king. Say what? Ladies man with a smooth, sweet swing. Bigfoot, spider, and 9/11 schemes. Tom's a man of your wildest dreams. Tom Gulley, he's got charm, got wit, and a silky flow. Oh yeah, talking mysteries only Tom would know. From R&B to the funk so tight, so tight. He's spinning webs like a spider at